Hello and welcome live from New Delhi. You're watching DD India Live, India's voice to the world. I'm Gautam Roy, and coming up in the next 30 minutes. Maldives President Dr. Mohammad Muizzu arrives in Delhi for a 5-day India visit. He'll meet President Draupadi Murmu and Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Monday. India's External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar questions the effectiveness of the United Nations as an instrument of peace. Implies it's merely been a bystander to the conflicts playing out in West Asia and Ukraine. Netanyahu says Israel is fighting on 7 fronts on the eve of the first anniversary of the 7th of October Hamas attacks. Tel Aviv strikes Beirut hard overnight and issues fresh evacuation orders for southern Lebanon. And winter is coming. Powdery snow dusts a high mountain pass in India's Kashmir as the plains in the valley also get steady rain, bringing the mercury down and delighting tourists. Well, first up, Maldives President Dr. Mohammad Muizzu has arrived in India's national capital, New Delhi, on a 5-day state visit on Sunday. This is the Maldivian president's first bilateral visit after assuming office. He had earlier visited India in June 2024 to attend the swearing-in ceremony of Prime Minister Modi and his Council of Ministers. Muizzu's state visit will include a meeting with India's President Draupadi Murmu and discussions with Prime Minister Modi on bilateral, regional and international issues of mutual interest. The Maldivian president will also visit Mumbai and Bengaluru, where he will be attending business-related events. India's External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar attended the 3rd Kautilya Economic Conclave in New Delhi. Dr. Jaishankar said that the Quad Group is one of the key mechanisms of the Indo-Pacific.
If you look today at the kind of agenda the Quad has, it's huge. I mean, it's from, I would say, from telecom and connectivity and, climate action projects to education, to technology, to maritime safety, security. We would have maybe at least 50, 60, 70 different domains today covered by the Quad. Today, I would actually regard Quad as one of the really key mechanisms in the Indo-Pacific. And I can see that it's, that perception is increasingly shared by other countries. So many other countries want to have to, are interested in interacting in some way with the Quad.
And Dr. Jaishankar also said that the size of India's economy is shaping people's thinking about India.
Countries of the neighborhood in the last decade actually have regionalized much more deeply than they have done in the last 7 or 8 decades, since independence for us. And the impact of that and the impact of the size of the Indian economy and the willingness of India really to step out and do things for its neighbors and for the rest of the world. I think that is today shaping people's thinking, that whether it was Sri Lanka in economic distress or, the fertilizer shortages after the Ukraine war started, or the vaccine demands during COVID, there is that broader regional sense, okay, there's an India, we can ask India, it's a country that is there for us.
Further, on the Global South, the External Affairs Minister said that we are part of a collective and trusted member of the collective.
It's in the nature of things that every nation naturally prioritizes its interests, but I would argue that Global South itself has great value on a range of issues. Again, I don't have to position myself as a leader of the Global South. You are part of a collective, and if in the collective you are a trusted member of the collective and you are a articulate member of the collective, I think people expect you to do a little bit more. Again, I'm not entirely sure that some of the answers can be found bilaterally.
And Dr. Jaishankar also highlighted that two conflicts have been going on in the world today, but the UN is essentially a bystander to the situation.
Probably the biggest thing which happened in our lives was COVID. Now, think about what did the UN do on COVID, and I think the answer is not very much. Now, you have two conflicts going on in the world today, two very serious conflicts. Where is the UN on them? Essentially a bystander.
Israel has placed its forces on high alert as Israel-Hamas conflict is going to mark its first anniversary on Monday. In the latest, Israel's Air Force has conducted a series of targeted strikes on Hezbollah's weapons storage facilities in Beirut. French President Macron has said that the sales of arms used in Gaza should be halted, but Israeli Prime Minister has replied sharply on Macron's statement and called an arms embargo, the proposal of an arms embargo, as a disgrace. More in this report.
Israel has placed its forces on high alert ahead of anniversary of Hamas's October 7 attack. The alert came with Israel engaged in an intensifying war with the Lebanese Hezbollah group, which Israeli army chief said he would hit without concession or respite. On Sunday, Israeli Air Force conducted a series of targeted airstrikes on Hezbollah's weapons storage facilities and infrastructure sites in Beirut. Early on Saturday, the Israeli military announced changes to its defensive guidelines in several areas, including north of Tel Aviv, near the Gaza Strip, and parts of the occupied West Bank. The changes allow gatherings of up to 2,000 people, up from 1,000.
It has been decided to update instruction of the home front so that gatherings are allowed of up to 2,000 people from the Carmel area to the south.
Along with easing of some of the defense guidelines, Israel remains on alert ahead of the anniversary of Hamas's October 7 attack. Meanwhile, French President Emmanuel Macron has called for a ceasefire on Sunday.
When we call for ceasefire, this is the case for Gaza. This was also the case for Lebanon last week. Well, we try not to call for a ceasefire while continuing to deliver weapons of war. And I think it's just consistency. And so I confirm to you that for my part, I think that at the moment, the ceasefire in Gaza is a priority to allow humanitarian action to be resumed at full capacity.
Reacting sharply on Macron's statement, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said that the Macron's statement ignores enormity of terror strike that had taken place in Israel last year.
As Israel fights the forces of barbarism led by Iran, all civilized countries should be standing firmly by Israel's side. Yet President Macron and some other Western leaders are now calling for an arms embargo against Israel. Shame on them.
On the other hand, 18 people were killed and dozens of others were injured in Israel's retaliatory airstrike on a Gaza mosque. Israel's attack comes as part of its operation against Hamas and the mission to neutralize all its centers in Gaza. Thousands of Israelis took to the streets once again on Saturday night, calling for a deal to secure the release of those held captive by Hamas in Gaza. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has fiercely maintained that he is committed to releasing the hostages, blaming Hamas for rejecting repeated proposals. The United Nations Secretary General denounced Hamas and called for an immediate end to the shocking violence and bloodshed in Gaza and Lebanon. Aman Kumar Himanshu's report for DD India.
Also, the Israeli police said on Sunday that several people have been injured in a suspected shooting attack in the city of Beersheba in South Israel, while the ambulance service said the attacker had been killed. The ambulance service also treated seriously injured women, while 8 other injured people were receiving medical treatment at a nearby hospital. French Foreign Affairs Minister Jean-Noël Barrot met his Jordanian counterpart Ayman Safadi in Amman and discussed developments in West Asia. Barrot will also visit Saudi Arabia, Qatar and Jordan over the weekend before arriving in Israel ahead of the 7th of October, when Israel will mark a year since Palestinian group Hamas attacked the country. He is also due to travel to the West Bank. Now, in a massive aerial assault, Russia launched 87 drones and 4 missiles on Ukraine on Saturday. Ukrainian air defenses claim to have destroyed 56 of these drones and 2 missiles. Ukraine's military reported a prolonged air raid alert spanning over 5 hours in the eastern region. Russian airstrikes targeted key cities including Kyiv. Preliminary reports confirm no damage or casualties so far. The Indian Air Force, along with multiple agencies, successfully rescued American and British climbers stuck for days in Chowkhamba Mountain. The 2 women alpine mountaineers were rescued from the attempted Chowkhamba 3-peak expedition in Uttarakhand's Chamoli district on Sunday. Undaunted by the 18,500-foot altitude, the Indian Air Force's Cheetah pilots, cheetahs are helicopters, displayed exceptional flying skills and conducted the search operation for over 60 hours to ensure the climbers' safe rescue. And lauding the remarkable display of teamwork by the Indian Air Force, India's Defence Minister Rajnath Singh wrote on X, and I quote, "Proud of our armed forces for the remarkable rescue and evacuation operation of 2 women alpine mountaineers from the United States and United Kingdom during the expedition to Chowkhamba 3 Peak. The jointness in planning and coordination with national and state administration and swiftness in execution while putting their own lives at risk once again demonstrate our armed forces' unwavering commitment to ensure safety of all personnel, irrespective of their nationality." After a hiatus of 2 decades, the Indian Air Force conducted a mega air show on the Marina Beach of Chennai ahead of the 92nd Air Force Day. A total of 72 aircraft took part in the showcase. This year's event is based on the theme Bharatiya Vayu Sena Saksham Sashakt Atmanirbhar, that is the Indian Air Force, potent, powerful and self-reliant.
கடலின் ராஜமீன் கூட துள்ளி குதிக்கிறது நாமும் வானம் வரை செல்ல வேண்டும் என்று.
Now, the air show featured Rafale, Sukhoi 30 MKIs, Mirage 2000s, Airbus C-295MWs, MiG-29 fighters, P-8I Poseidon anti-submarine warfare aircraft, plus many more. It also featured vintage planes such as the Dakotas and Howard. And the Indian Air Force's mega air show at Chennai set a world record as well in the Limca Book of Records. It broke a previous record of 1.3 million count. It registered the highest spectators turnout for an adventure show in the world. The event featured a spectacular lineup of 72 aircraft, like I mentioned, including Rafale, Sukhois, Tejas, Light Combat Helicopter Prachand and the historic Dakota. Highlight of the show was the Sukhoi Su-30 MKI's performance of the signature loop tumble yaw maneuver, accompanied by dazzling flares. The Surikhan aerobatics team also put up a thrilling display, captivating the crowd with synchronized aerobatics. And still to come in this edition of DD India Live. Voting is underway in Tunisia with President Kais Saied set for re-election. And today is World Cerebral Palsy Day, to serve as a platform to amplify the voice of individuals living with cerebral palsy. Welcome back. You're watching DD India Live. I'm Gautam Roy. Now, voting in Tunisia's presidential election began on Sunday with over 9.7 million voters being eligible to elect the country's next leader. The North African country holds a presidential election with no real opposition as the main rival to President Said is currently in prison. This is Tunisia's third presidential election since January 2011, and this election takes place amid political tensions, economic challenges and a polarized electorate. Just a month to go before the 5th of November presidential election in the United States, and Donald Trump has returned to rural Pennsylvania on Saturday, where he narrowly survived an assassination bid in July. Speaking to a large crowd in the key battleground state, the Republican presidential candidate reaffirmed that his movement to make America great again remains stronger and more united.
Exactly 12 weeks ago this evening on this very ground, a cold-blooded assassin aimed to silence me and to silence the greatest movement, MAGA. For 16 harrowing seconds during the gunfire, time stopped as this vicious monster unleashed pure evil from his sniper's perch, not so far away. But by the hand of Providence and the grace of God, that villain did not succeed in his goal.
And mid-speech, Trump invited billionaire Elon Musk on stage in Pennsylvania's Butler, saying that he is an incredible guy. Addressing the crowd with energy, Musk donned a black MAGA cap and an Occupy Mars shirt.
I'm not just MAGA, I'm dark MAGA. Well, first of all, I want to say what an honor it is to be here. And, you know, the true test of someone's character is how they behave under fire. And we had one president who couldn't climb a flight of stairs, and another who was fist pumping after getting shot. Fight, fight, fight!
Republican vice presidential nominee J.D. Vance joined Donald Trump in his campaign in Pennsylvania as well on Saturday. Justifying Donald Trump's position on the rights of women, he said that every state should take its own call on making the law on abortion instead of framing a federal legislation.
On the abortion question, the president's been very clear that he wants Georgia to make Georgia's laws, California to make California's laws, and to respect the fact that we kind of have a messy democracy where sometimes different states are going to make different determinations on these issues.
And U.S. Vice President Kamala Harris has attended a meeting with emergency management officials and talked to members of the armed forces. She announced disaster relief package for Mecklenburg County, assessing the damage for Hurricane Helene in Charlotte, North Carolina. Her visit comes a day after her Republican rival Donald Trump campaigned in Fayetteville, home to a large military community in North Carolina.
The work that is happening here and that continues really is the best of what we can do to bring federal, state, and local resources together in a way that is coordinated with one purpose and one purpose only, which is bringing relief, support, and help to the people who are most in need and desperate for help and desperate to be seen and heard. So I came here to find out what's going on the ground, to find out what more we can do in terms of federal aid, what we're giving to Mecklenburg County in terms of disaster relief, the work that we are doing, which is $100 million to assist with the rebuilding of Interstate 40.
Now, after Hurricane Helene destroyed water utilities points, residents of North Carolina lined up at a water distribution center to fill their canisters. North Carolina, being the hardest hit of the by the devastating hurricane, faced most of the property damages. At least 15 people have died after heavy rains triggered flash floods in northeast India's Meghalaya, in the area called South Garo Hills. Incessant rainfall for the last 2 days triggered landslides, mudslides and swollen rivers, which have washed away several bridges and cut off surface connectivity to many of the remote areas. The Garo Hills region is reeling under one of the worst floods it has faced in years. Meanwhile, Chief Minister Conrad Sangma has said that efforts are ongoing to clear and repair the road from Dalu to Sibari. Floods and landslides have disrupted communication, causing delays of several hours for the arrival of SDRF and NDRF, that is relief and rescue teams, and they are working diligently to rescue those stranded and also pull out remains of those who've not survived this tragedy. Let's now take a look at some other stories making news today as well. Well, the Defence Research and Development Organization, that's the DRDO, has successfully completed 3 flight tests of the 4th generation very short-range air defence system in Pokhran, Rajasthan. This is a man-portable air defence system designed and developed indigenously by the Research Centre Imarat in collaboration with DRDO. Indian Navy ships on long-range training deployment arrived in Muscat, Oman. The ships include Tir, Shardul and Indian Coast Guard ship Veer. The deployment will focus on training exchanges, professional interactions and friendly sports fixtures between the navies. As part of Navratri celebrations, a special Garba program was organized in Kheda district of Gujarat for the specially abled individuals, creating a sense of inclusivity for all. The Indian state Uttar Pradesh's Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath unveiled the logo of Mahakumbh Fair 2025 in Prayagraj. The Grand Fair will take place from the 14th of January till the 26th of February 2025 in Uttar Pradesh's Prayagraj. Today is World Cerebral Palsy Day. This day serves as a platform to amplify the voices of individuals living with the ailment. This year's theme, Uniquely CP, tells about the uniqueness of the cerebral palsy community, their interests, passions and identities, showing that they are not solely defined by their disability. This day conveys a powerful message to the society that individuals with cerebral palsy can achieve their goals in life with their distinct capabilities and strengths. Time now to get you some sporting updates as well. In the ICC Women's T20 World Cup, India dominated the match against Pakistan while chasing the target of 106 runs in Dubai on Sunday. Smriti Mandhana was dismissed for a score of 7, with Sadia Iqbal striking first blood for Pakistan, while Shefali Verma also went down after scoring crucial 32 runs for India. Team India right now are at a score of 77 for 2 after 14.3 overs. Earlier, Arundhati Reddy picked up 3 wickets to help India restrict the Pakistanis to below par score, while Shreyanka Patil also bagged a couple after Pakistan opted to bat. Nida Dar top scored for Pakistan with 28 of 34 balls. The Indian bowlers maintained a tight line and length to stifle the Pakistani batters while picking up wickets at regular intervals. And we've got more cricket coming in the day. In the second match of the day, West Indies will face Scotland. Both the teams have lost their opening matches. It is a do-or-die game for the West Indians, as another defeat can rule out all their chances of qualifying for the semi-finals. And now on to the men. India and Bangladesh will square off in the first men's T20 international of the 3-match series in Gwalior on Sunday. India would hope to continue their winning streak following their 2-0 win in the recently concluded Test series. India's stars who were part of the Test series have been rested. However, the men in blue have a star-studded lineup as well, consisting of Captain Suryakumar Yadav, Hardik Pandya, Sanju Samson, Arshdeep Singh and others as well. On the other hand, Bangladesh skipper Najmul Hossain Shanto promised to play aggressive brand of cricket. And the Indian Army's arena polo team has defeated the US military team in a closely contested test match at the Lakeside Polo Club in California, USA. The match ended with a score of 13-10 in favor of the Indian team. Lieutenant Colonel Prithvi Singh, Lieutenant Colonel Yatendra Kumar, Major Mrityunjay Singh and Lieutenant Colonel R.K. Gautam gave a good account of their horsemanship. Now, as the serene landscape of Jammu and Kashmir embraces the first snowfall of the season, Razdan Top, the majestic mountain pass connecting the Gurez Valley to Bandipora, has been blanketed with a light dusting of fresh snow. Overnight, the high peaks shimmered with their new icy coat, while the plains of Kashmir were refreshed by steady rainfall. The change in weather has brought a noticeable dip in temperatures that has left tourists delighted.
उम्मीद थी वो पूरी हुई। कश्मीर नाम सुन के पहले सबसे पहले बर्फ ही आता है दिमाग के अंदर, लेकिन वो अभी पूरी हो गई।
हमको लगता है अभी हाल फिलहाल में स्नो है, तो इट्स नाइस एक्सपीरियंस यहाँ पर। थोड़ा ही मिला था अभी, नवंबर उतना होता है कि नवंबर से लोगों को स्नो मिलता है, हम लोग को अक्टूबर में मिल गया। इट्स नाइस।
Pet owners in the Philippines dress their dogs, cats and rabbits in their Sunday best for a blessed ceremony held by a Catholic priest at a mall in Manila. This event celebrated World Animal Day, which falls on the 4th of October and coincides with the feast of Saint Francis of Assisi, the patron saint of animals. More than 100 pets were brought in for this year's religious and blessing ceremony, and Catholic priests sprinkled holy water to bless them. Pet owners expressed their deep connection to their pets. And that's all we have in this edition of DD India Live. Let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. And for those on the go, you can get all the latest news on DD India's mobile app from around the world as well as the country. The app is available on both Android and iOS. You can scan the QR code on the screen and download the app now. And we'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Gautam Goyam from all of us here in Delhi. Thanks for watching DD India Live.